Let's not lie, each and every one of us has had a bone or two to pick with some of our family members. Whether it's that annoying little sister that keeps stealing your prettiest blouse, or domineering parents who bully you into submission. Everybody has had to deal with family members that they do not like. However, it's fair to say that only a handful of us are capable of getting rid of people that we ultimately love. It makes this situation even more shocking as we go through today's video. What could have happened? What could have gotten these kids so mad that they executed several members of their families? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's dive into these videos about kids who get rid of their own family members and how they reacted to the consequences of their horrifying deeds. Dylan Schumacher. We begin our list with the heinous act that was committed by Dylan Schumacher, a 16-year-old living in Springfield, Utah. Somehow, he managed to find himself babysitting his girlfriend's 2 kids alone. Already known for his abusive attributes, Dylan couldn't even get through some hours with the kids. As soon as one of the 2 kids became upset and started crying, Dylan showed no mercy. Rather than calming the poor kid down, Dylan decided to smother him with his pillow before striking him repeatedly. As you can imagine, this killed the 2-year-old boy. Somehow, the courts tried to rationalize this animalistic behavior when Dylan was facing his trial. His lawyer tried to get his charges reduced from a second-degree murder charge to a second-degree manslaughter charge by arguing that Dylan was unable to control his emotions and that his inexperience as a babysitter contributed to his unspeakable behavior.
Austin Smith was completely defenseless. That's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there, including my client's inability to either control his anger or frustration and his inexperience in babysitting.
How the judge has to entertain this, we do not know. Regardless of his pleas, the law wasn't going to let this one slide. Incredibly, this is when the waterworks began. Dylan tearfully pleads his innocence to the court and his girlfriend. You can see as he cries desperately to anybody who would listen. He didn't mean to do this. He loved her son.
I didn't mean to kill Austin. Ashley, I really didn't. I really think I did that.
However, Dylan proved to be as violent as he was evil. Shortly after listening to this blubbering mess of an apology, the court played a recording of Dylan that would anger you while sending shivers down your spine at the same time. Just listen to this.
A 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury and they're going to feel sorry for me.
As you can hear, he felt he could get away with this because he was a blonde 16-year-old. All he had to do was cry in front of the jury. Fortunately, he wasn't fooling anybody in that courtroom. Even before the tape was played, ultimately the court threw him into the slammer for 18 years to life, although there's a possibility of parole in 2031. What a mess. Sierra Hallseth and Aaron Guerrero. We turn our attention to another unutterable sacrilege. We speak about the events that led up to the incarcerations of Sierra Hallseth and Aaron Guerrero. This pair of teenagers had fallen head over heels for each other. However, Sierra's father wasn't a fan of the young man. So, as all fathers would do, voicing his concerns and his disapproval. Rather than finding a reasonable way to maneuver through the situation, Sierra and Aaron organized and orchestrated the brutal murder of her father and disposed of his body. The teenagers' acts were so devastating and filled with rage that when the body was found in a sleeping bag on the 9th of April 2021, it had over 70 stab wounds on it. It pains to say that this wasn't even the worst part. The evidence later showed that after going berserk on her father, Sierra and her boyfriend desecrated her father's body by chopping him up with a chainsaw before setting him and the house on fire. The investigators eventually found a video on Sierra's phone where both of them were giggling and discussing the murder.
Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Whoa! Don't put that on the camera.
The pair soon found themselves before the courts in Las Vegas, Nevada, after they were apprehended in Salt Lake City. Remorseless, Sierra tried to get away with her unforgivable crime by reading a letter which painted her father as an abusive pedophile. Regardless, this did not give her any excuse for the heinous crime she and her boyfriend had committed.
Count 1, you're going to be sentenced to 48 to 120 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served. Ms. Hallseth, in accordance to the laws of the state of Nevada, you're going to be adjudicated guilty on count 1, conspiracy to commit murder. Count 2, first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon.
The pair would soon stop laughing after they were thrown into the slammer for life, with the possibility of parole after 22 years. Let's see how long this relationship is gonna last now. Jake Evans. We head over to Parker County, Texas, where Jake Evans' mental illness is said to be the cause of his terrible actions. Apparently, the 17-year-old suddenly fed into his urge to commit murder when he shot and killed his mother and his younger sister with a .22 caliber handgun. Following this, he called the police to report himself to the authorities.
911, where is your emergency?
My house.
Okay, what's the emergency?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
It is during this phone call that we get a peek into Jake's unstable mental state that fateful day.
Is there any reason that you were so angry at your mother and your sister?
I don't know. I wasn't. It's weird. I wasn't even really angry with them. It just kind of happened. I've been kind of planning on killing for a while now.
Apparently, this was no accident. He revealed that he also had plans to complete his shooting spree by turning on his grandparents and his other sister as well. He also revealed that he's been thinking about doing this for some time. He couldn't fight the urge to replicate the scenes of his favorite horror movie, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Amazingly, he wasn't even angry. It was just something he had been planning to do because he didn't like people's attitudes.
I don't know. I don't really like people's kind of attitude.
Well, he should have found a better way to voice this complaint because Jake soon found himself standing in front of a judge. It seemed to be an open and shut case because the court found the teenager guilty for his crimes. Somewhat controversially, he was given 45 years to life with a chance of being released in half that time. Do you think that this was one for the prison cells or one that needed some psychiatric help? Please let us know in the comments section. Tyler Hadley. Brace yourself for this one, guys, because as we head to St. Lucie, Florida, you'd see how a troublesome combination of drugs and mental illness could bring about the destruction of a family. A 17-year-old Tyler Hadley threw a party at his home after committing parricide, and even boasted about it to his friends at the party. After consuming 3 ecstasy pills, Tyler bludgeoned his parents to death with a claw hammer. After cleaning up all the blood, he threw a party for his friends. However, his friends soon began to realize something was up when they suddenly noticed the stench that permeated into the room. As if that wasn't telling enough, Tyler was also losing control of himself, so much so that he revealed his dark actions to his friend, Michael Mandel. I don't have to tell you that Michael Mandel couldn't wait to get away from his disturbed friend. As soon as he left the party, he reported the crime. Apparently, this wasn't Tyler's first rodeo with the police. Not only had he gotten into trouble because of his drug use, he also had prior clashes with the law thanks to his rap sheet. That included crimes such as arson, vandalism, theft, battery, and hitting a child with his father's car. The straw that seemed to break the camel's back, however, was that his parents were desperate for him to get clean. His response was to take them out with a claw hammer. You wouldn't be surprised to hear that the courts were ready to throw the book at this callous young man by giving him the death sentence. However, this couldn't happen because he was still a teenager. As such, he was given a life sentence. Although this came up for reconsideration, it looks like he will be spending the rest of his life in prison as of 2018.
I apologize and make amends for the horrible acts I committed.
This seems to produce a mixed reaction in the Headley's household. While his mother's niece was hoping that his time would help him get the rehabilitation he needed to re-enter society, his brother was actually hoping that he got the maximum sentence applicable to such a devious crime.
What I want is for him to get the maximum penalty possible, which I understand is life in prison without parole.
No doubt, the only thing that everybody seemed to agree on was the fact that he must pay for his unforgivable crimes.